Here's a scary statistic. The World Health Organization reports that about 1/3 of the world's population is iron deficient or anemic. Now, are you feeling mentally sluggish or drained? It could be that you're not getting enough of this essential mineral. It could be that you're low in iron. Other symptoms of iron deficiency include losing hair or thinning or brittle hair, poor memory or dry skin. I'm David Toman, author of Nootropics Expert and this YouTube channel. Iron is an essential mineral for optimal brain function. Iron plays a key role in hemoglobin production, which carries oxygen via red blood cells throughout your body and brain. Iron is a cofactor in the synthesis of neurotransmitters in myelin. Iron is needed for DNA synthesis and repair, in ATP energy production in mitochondria, immune response, and thyroid hormone production. You need adequate iron for maintaining cognition and a healthy brain. In this video, we'll explore why iron intake is essential, how it impacts brain function, and what happens when levels are too low or too high. You will learn the consequences of iron deficiency, the benefits for cognitive function, relevant clinical research, recommended dosages, potential side effects, and the best type of iron supplement to buy to raise your iron levels. Now, before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and share this video. I also do consultations. So, if you need help trying to figure out which nootropic supplements you should be using, then schedule an hour with me. You'll find a link to my calendar down in the notes section below this video. Let's get started. Iron is an essential mineral needed for producing hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells that transport oxygen from your lungs and throughout your body and brain. Once iron is absorbed in your digestive system, a portion of it is stored in ferritin. This protein is found throughout your body and stores iron, which then releases this mineral as needed. Iron that is not stored in ferritin is released into your bloodstream via a protein called transferrin. This protein is important because it prevents iron from forming free radicals, which can cause oxidative stress and kill cells. Iron is required for DNA synthesis, electron transport for cellular energy production in mitochondria, antioxidant functions including reduction of reactive oxygen species, and the production of thyroid hormones. Your body does not make iron, so you must get it from food or from a supplement. Foods rich in iron include beef, veal, pork, lamb, chicken, turkey, liver, fish, greens, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, tomatoes, lima beans, potatoes, green beans, corn, beets, and cabbage. Heme iron comes from meat, poultry, and fish. And non-heme iron comes from plants, dairy products, some meat, and iron salts that are added to food and supplements. The absorption of non-heme iron is increased by vitamin A, vitamin C, citric acid, malic, tartaric, and lactic acids, and some meat, poultry, and fish. Legumes, whole grains, and nuts and seeds inhibit non-heme absorption. Compounds in coffee, black and herbal tea, soy protein, and calcium all inhibit non-heme iron absorption. Iron from your diet or from supplementation ensures iron distribution across different brain regions, preventing cognitive impairment and maintaining brain health. Iron boosts brain health and function in several ways, but a couple in particular stand out. First, iron boosts mental energy. Iron is used in your body to make hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen from your lungs to the rest of your body. When your iron levels are low, less oxygen is carried throughout your system, including your brain, causing mental and overall fatigue. The University of Lausanne in Switzerland conducted a study with 136 non-anemic women suffering fatigue. Most had low ferritin concentrations. Half the women were given 80 milligrams of ferrous sulfate every day for a month. The level of fatigue dropped significantly in the women who were supplementing with iron compared to the placebo group. The researchers concluded non-anemic women with unexplained fatigue may benefit from iron supplementation. And the second way involves iron supplements if you exercise a lot or you do a lot of endurance training. Multiple studies since the early 1990s have shown iron losses in deficiency in both men and women who engage in exercise, especially endurance training or long-distance runners. Studies show iron loss in athletes is likely due to expanding blood cell mass and muscle mass. Increased bleeding in the gastro tract and increased fragility of red blood cells may also cause iron deficiency in athletes. The Food and Nutrition Board estimates that the iron requirement on average may be 50% higher for those who engage in regular intense exercise. Now, next I'm going to talk about what happens when you are iron deficient, the symptoms and what it feels like, so please stay tuned. Iron-deficient anemia impacts somewhere between 1.2 billion people worldwide. In developing countries, the most affected are pregnant women and children. The World Health Organization reports about 1/3 of the world's population is anemic. Iron deficiency can be caused by congestive heart failure, chronic kidney disease, inflammatory bowel disease, heavy menstruation, and not enough iron in your diet. Insufficient iron in the first few years of life can turn into long-term problems. Anemic or iron deficiency children in infancy scored lower on learning, self-control, and attention at 7 years of age compared to infants that started out with good iron status. Lack of iron can lead to difficulties in concentration, memory lapses, and decreased mental clarity. Magnetic resonance imaging, or MRIs, have shown that low iron content in the basal ganglia decreases the binding potential of dopamine to its receptors and transporters. The impaired dopamine signaling disrupts normal motor function, leading to an involuntary leg movements, including restless leg syndrome. Adults with brain iron deficiency experience cognitive decline, fatigue, mood swings, irritability, and an increased risk of depression. Chronic iron deficiency or too much iron can contribute to diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's due to brain iron accumulation in specific brain regions. A study in China showed an association between low iron and hemoglobin and were contributing factors for increased risk of stroke. Studies show that iron accumulation in certain brain regions have been linked to both improved memory and cognition, while excessive accumulation of iron in other brain regions may contribute to diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. The bottom line is iron supplementation is not for everyone. But if you are iron deficient, adding iron to your nootropic stack could improve your quality of life a lot. Now, do you know someone else who might be struggling with iron deficiency or cognitive issues? Share this video with them, please. It could make a real difference in their lives. Maintaining adequate iron levels offers several cognitive benefits. Memory. Proper iron levels supports memory retention and recall and prevents cognitive decline. Improved attention. Iron contributes to improved focus and concentration for supporting normal memory function. Optimal learning. Adequate iron is essential for learning processes and overall cognitive development. A meta-analysis of 9 studies with 1,196 children in 5 countries concluded oral iron intake can improve the intelligence test scores of children and adolescents in low and middle income countries and should be considered for future nutritional interventions. If you are iron deficient or anemic and start supplementing with iron, don't expect immediate results. It can take a few months to increase your ferritin levels. Iron supplementation may reduce restless leg syndrome. Once you begin supplementing with iron, you should no longer feel dizzy or lightheaded when you stand up, and you should not bruise as easily. Your energy levels may increase, circulation could improve, and you'll no longer feel cold all the time. Many women complain about hair loss while pregnant or after giving birth. You may be able to avoid these symptoms by supplementing with iron. After starting an iron supplement, many report a reduction in hair loss. Hair feels thicker and healthier after supplementing with iron. You should feel less groggy, more focused, and have less brain fog. And keep in mind that caffeine and even dairy products can interfere with iron absorption. So separate your coffee or dairy intake by a couple of hours to ensure that your iron supplement gets into your system. Get your iron labs done and consult with your doctor when trying to figure out how much iron you should be using. And experiment with different forms of iron. If you experience constipation or gut health problems, iron purity is important, as is the type of iron supplement you choose to use. Chronic fatigue is a significant problem and a debilitating condition that has been estimated to cost society in the U.S. $9.1 billion a year in lost production. Researchers at the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg, Canada, ran a systematic review of clinical trials published between 1989 and 2015 with study participants who were iron deficient but not anemic. The analysts included 18 clinical trials enrolling 1,170 patients who were diagnosed as iron deficient. The study was conducted to find out if iron supplementation could improve fatigue and physical capacity in adults who are iron deficient but not anemic. The majority of study participants supplemented with ferrous sulfate with a mean daily dose of 86.9 milligrams of elemental iron every day for 28 days. The researchers concluded that in iron-deficient but non-anemic adults, iron supplementation reduced fatigue but did not improve exercise capacity. And they said, and I quote, patients and practitioners should consider consumption of iron-rich foods or iron supplementation to improve symptoms of fatigue in the absence of documented anemia. Decades of evidence shows that iron deficiency is closely related to delayed brain development, worse school performance, and problems with behavior. So researchers in Canada and in the United States, they worked together. They conducted a systematic review and a meta-analysis to examine the effects of oral iron supplementation on cognitive function among children and adolescents aged 5 to 19. Cognitive function was defined as intelligence, attention, short-term memory, long-term memory, and school performance. The review included 9 studies with 1,196 kids in 5 countries. The researchers found that iron supplementation had a positive effect on intelligence among children, and intelligence test scores improved with increasing the iron supplement dose. The researchers concluded, and I quote, oral iron intake can improve the intelligence test scores of children and adolescents and should be considered for future nutritional interventions. Iron can be toxic and unsafe if you supplement with iron, but you are not iron deficient or anemic. The recommended daily allowance for iron varies based on age, gender, and life stage. The table that I've inserted here lists the current RDA for non-vegetarians. The RDAs for vegetarians are 1.8 times higher than for people who eat meat, because the heme iron from meat is more bioavailable than non-heme iron from plant-based foods, and meat, poultry, and seafood increases the absorption of non-heme iron. The tolerable upper limit for iron for infants and children up to 13 years is 40 milligrams per day, and for adolescents and adults 14 years and older, the most you should use is 45 milligrams per day. Your iron labs should look similar to this. Hemoglobin measures the levels of hemoglobin in your blood. This iron-rich protein in red blood cells carries oxygen from your lungs to the rest of your body, and if it is low, you could be iron deficient or anemic. This is not the same as hemoglobin A1C, which measures glucose levels for diabetes. MCV is the size of your red blood cells, and if below normal, it could indicate iron deficiency. MCHC is the average hemoglobin concentration in a red blood cell, and if it's low, you could be iron deficient. Serum iron measures levels of iron in your blood. Transferrin measures how well iron attaches to the transferrin protein that is used to move iron throughout your body, and also called total iron binding capacity, or TIBC. When it's high, you could be iron deficient, and when it's low, you could have an iron overload. Transferrin saturation is the percentage of transferrin that is bound to iron. Now, this is a more accurate measure of total iron levels in your body than the serum iron concentration. Low saturation could mean iron deficiency or anemia, and high saturation could mean iron overload or hemochromatosis. Ferritin is an iron storage protein, and its levels indicate your total body stores of iron. If it's low, you could be iron deficient, and if it's high, you could have an iron overload. You should not supplement with iron unless you have been diagnosed with iron deficiency. Iron supplementation may cause gastrointestinal irritation, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, or vomiting. While iron is crucial for optimal brain health and cognition, excess iron can cause real problems. Accidental overdose of iron is the single largest cause of poisoning fatalities in kids under 6. Iron overdose at any age can lead to nausea, vomiting, weak and rapid pulse, low blood pressure, fever, difficulty breathing, and coma. If you're interested in learning more about how iron can benefit your specific issues, or you want personalized help choosing the best supplements for you, remember to click the link below to schedule a consultation with me. Antacids, histamine receptor antagonists, and proton pump inhibitors can prevent iron absorption. Sinemet, levodopa, synthroid, tetracyclines, penicillamine, and drugs used to lower blood cholesterol and certain antibiotics can slow iron absorption. So it's best to take iron in any of these drugs a couple of hours apart. Vitamin A and vitamin C taken with iron supplement reduces the anemia better than taking iron alone because it boosts the absorption. Copper iron deficiency can lead to iron overload and cirrhosis of the liver. Make sure you have enough copper. High doses of an iron supplement taken together with zinc on an empty stomach may inhibit the absorption of zinc. But if taken with food, supplemental iron does not inhibit zinc absorption. You have several options when choosing an iron supplement. Some of those options include ferrous sulfate is 20% elemental iron. It's a common and less expensive form with high bioavailability. Ferrous gluconate is 12% elemental iron. It's usually sold in a liquid form and is easier for your body to absorb compared to ferrous sulfate. This form of iron can be easier on your stomach and a better option if you are highly sensitive to supplements. And then ferrous fumarate is 33% elemental iron. This contains a higher percentage of elemental iron. Then iron chelators. These iron supplements are bound to a chelator, which is an organic molecule that is large enough to enrobe the iron. This protects the iron against degradation, is highly stable, and may improve iron uptake and utilization. Choosing the right iron supplement can be confusing because you'll often find 2 iron amounts listed on the supplement facts label. The larger number represents the chemical compound form with iron bound to a salt, for example, ferrous sulfate. The smaller number represents the amount of iron in the supplement, which is often called elemental iron. This smaller number is important because this is the exact amount of iron available for your body to absorb. Now, if you have been diagnosed with iron deficiency and your doctor recommends that you start an iron supplement, make sure that you're clear on how much iron your doctor is prescribing. Make sure that she is referring to the amount of elemental iron that you should be using. I recommend Performance Lab Iron Complex because it contains 14 milligrams of Nutrigenesis iron with 60 milligrams of Nutrigenesis vitamin C, which boosts absorption. Now, this form of iron is in an elemental form and does not need to be combined with a salt to increase absorption or act as a carrier, because this is the same form of iron as you'd normally get from food. So that's my report on best iron supplement for mental clarity and energy. If you want to see links to the studies I mentioned in this video, go to my website, nootropicsexpert.com, and search for iron. There you'll find a full transcript for this video. And while you're there at Nootropics Expert, you'll also find articles and reviews on all of the most popular nootropics used in the world today. If you haven't already, download your free copy of Secrets of the Optimized Brain. It's nearly 100 pages and contains details on 92 of the most popular nootropics used in the world today. And my 4-time award-winning book, the second edition of Head First, The Complete Guide to Healing and Optimizing Your Brain with Nootropic Supplements, is available worldwide. Head First, the second edition, is 962 pages and is available in hardcover, paperback, or for iPad or Kindle. You can get your copy at any major bookseller, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, Apple Books, Walmart, and others. You will find a link to these stores below in the notes section below this video. And did I mention that Head First won 4 awards? You really need to get a copy if you haven't already. Again, Head First is available worldwide. Now, if you're feeling frustrated and you think that you could use some professional help with choosing the right nootropics, or just trying to figure out how to deal with your own brain health issues, consider booking a personal consultation with me. You'll find a link to my calendar below in the notes section below this video. And if you want to see more videos on all the best nootropics used today, subscribe to this channel before you leave. I'll be putting up new videos on nootropics and optimizing your brain every week. And thank you for watching. I'm David Joman, author of Nootropics Expert.